How are we doing, everybody? One Big Boss here, and as you can tell, this is episode 1 of Gaming Treasures, or whatever we're going to call this segment. I'll have a proper one put up at one point. But as a lot of you know on my channel for the last couple of weeks and maybe like a month or two, there's been a lot of negative talk about the newer systems and all these new games that are coming out that are highly praised when they really shouldn't be because of, like, they carry a brand name or whatever like that, you know. So I figured, let's start fresh, let's do something different, let's do something good. So I've come across a lot of games at this point, so I figured I'd start sharing with people when we make this into a regular thing. Something I should have started like a year ago when I started this channel, for all the games I was getting and when I was employed by GameStop at the time, you know, so. But yeah, no, let's dig into what we got so far. Start off with the newer systems and work our way back to the old days of gaming, because those are the more appreciative ones at this time, more exciting ones that people want to see. So for the first games that I got were the Fear series. Technically Fear 2 and Fear 3. Now, I don't really know too much about these, but my friend Kinsey told me about them, and she really likes the music in them. So figured, might as well pick them up. My buddy Dan told me about them too, and said that they were really good. He enjoyed them. So for that good of a price that they both were, I was like, okay, why not get it, you know? No big deal. No harm done. Now, the next game, I feel, didn't get the recognition it deserved, nor did it get paid the attention that it deserved. And that game would be Lollipop Chainsaw. Now, this game is pretty original somewhat, like character-wise. It's kind of goofy. I mean, yeah, it's a zombie game, and how much originality can you get with zombies these days, because everybody seems to be doing it. But regardless, it's still a game that people really should give a chance to, because it's become a cult, not like a cult classic, but it's got a cult following, is what I want to say. You go to conventions, you go to zombie crawls, you'll see somebody dressed up as this chick right here. Because I've seen it. Down in MetroCon, I saw it. Everything. There was people dressed as her. My buddy goes to the Boston Zombie March. Same thing. He saw people dressed as her. So, I mean, it's a good game. It really deserves some praise. And a lot of work went into this game. It's these kind of games that are outside the box thinking, you know, they're not the same old rehashed kind of game over and over. This is what made gaming good years ago and can still do it today. Next up were two games that I've wanted to get for a while. Panda Lady actually picked these up a while ago, and it would be Final Fantasy 13 and Final Fantasy 13 2. Now, originally, I wasn't too interested in playing these games because I haven't really been a Final Fantasy guy for a long time, pretty much since Final Fantasy 10. And I don't have a lot of time to devote to newer RPGs. Like, I'm an old school fan of RPGs from Super Nintendo and PlayStation 1 days, and some on the PS2. But honestly, you know, everyone has been telling me for years, because I think 13's been out for like, what, 3 years now? Maybe 4? They've been telling me how great it was, the characters are awesome, the story was pretty decent as well, and I'm into games for stories and characters pretty much, and from the artwork I've seen and everything, these characters do seem pretty good. So I hope that I can get to play these one day, soon anyway, because I know Panda Lady started playing Final Fantasy 8 again. So, but yep, next up on the list is a game that Acid Arthur has, and that's the reason why I got it, was because she had it, and I figured we could play more games together other than just, you know, Resident Evil 6 Mercenaries. But it's Naruto Ultimate Shippuden Ninja Storm Generation, or Ultimate Ninja Storm Generation, yeah, whatever it's called, a very long name. But regardless, I'm not the hugest Naruto fan. I usually ask Acid Arthur, or I ask the Penguin Lady for their advice on the show, like how it's going. Because I used to follow it, but it just like, it got so long and drawn out. But this game's got over 70 characters, and so I figured, hey, you know, it might be a good thing to catch up on and everything, and see what new characters are in that I haven't seen yet. And I know my favorites are obviously going to be in here, so I picked it up. And next up was a little backstory to this game. My buddy's been playing Hitman, and I asked him how good it was, and he said it was an amazing series and everything, and, you know, and I'm picking up, what do you call it there, Tomb Raider soon. And I told him about that, and he goes, oh yeah, Tomb Raider looks pretty good, but dude, you better buy this before you get, you better buy Hitman before you buy Tomb Raider, because, dude, that's just, ugh. I remember exactly what he said and everything, but it was pretty funny, and he's kind of right. I should have bought, I've been wanting to buy this for a while, so I finally went out and I got Hitman Absolution. Now, marked at $25, that's not bad at all. I mean, it's used, obviously, but it's strange that a used game that just came out like a month or two ago is already down that much. to $25 used. Hey, I'm not complaining. That saves me money. But it's just another sign that these games that are really good aren't getting the attention. They're not being bought as well. But, I mean, I don't really know why. Because it's not Call of Duty or something. But the Hitman series is pretty good. Wasn't really taken with one or two. But the third one, Blood Money, was my favorite. And I'll tell you, it really got me drawn into this series. And seeing the stuff that you can do in this one, it just, I was like, oh, you bet I'm going to buy this, of course. So, I did. And I'll be getting Tomb Raider next month. Now I can stay in the good graces of my friends. The next and final game off these newer ones would be Yu-Gi-Oh! Tag Force 4. Don't judge. Been a huge fan of Yu-Gi-Oh! All my life. Ever since I came to America, I always got the cards, watched the shows on Saturday and stuff. It was great. It was like truly like a great Saturday morning cartoon to watch. Now, years went by and they made Tag Force 1 and 2. You bet I bought that. I was so happy to get a really good Yu-Gi-Oh! Game, because a lot of them were pretty good, but the Tag Force ones are my favorites so far. And 3 is the impossible one to find. 4 I got lucky and found the other day, and the 5th one I found down in Metrocon, or a place down in Florida when I was there. But you don't see 4 and 5 that much. You always see 1. You'll see 2 periodically and everything, but 3 I've never found in stores. It's like the rare. I think it's like the rarest one. I think it's because it didn't really come to America per se. It wasn't like it's in Europe, but in America it didn't really come here or whatever. I don't know the exact story on that, because everybody that I could buy the 3rd one from, it was from Europe, so that's what I figured. That does it for the newer ones. We'll go a little bit old school, kind of go back a couple years, and we'll be talking Dreamcast games, and the newest one to add to my old school collection would be Plasma Sword. Everybody probably recognizes this guy on the front. If they played Marvel vs. Capcom 2 for over 10 years, they should know him. It's Hayato. If I said that right, I don't know. If I didn't, I apologize. But yeah, this was a fighting game by Capcom, and it's kind of like a sleeper game almost. Not many people really played it. I only played it a little bit at my buddy's house when we were younger, and one day we wanted to get seriously good at it, and it was just gone. We figured his brother probably took it because his brother was a scumbag like that. But next up is Blue Stinger. Of course, you'll see it's the Japanese version. I got this because it was like $5. Couldn't pass it up, and the other one was like a little bit more expensive. So I figured, you know what, getting the Japanese game right now can't hurt that much. You know, I mean, I don't have a Japanese Dreamcast yet. Moving on, because those are the only 2 I got. We have this, and a lot of Resident Evil fans may appreciate this, but it's for Resident Evil 2 for the Gamecom. Now, many people probably don't know what the Gamecom was per se. You know, it was something that was created by Tiger Electronic Handhelds. And if anybody grew up in I think the late 80s and the 90s, they'll remember these, the Tiger Electronic games. These things were amazing because they were, I don't know if they were trying to compete with the Game Boy or something, but there was tons of these, like these, Ninja Gaiden, Wheel of Fortune, Jeopardy, Star Trek, Tecmo Golf, Tecmo Bowl, all that kind of cool jazz. So this was kind of like the early DS. It didn't have a long lifespan at all. I think the Game Gear had a longer life than this thing. Not that I'm knocking Game Gear. Trust me, I love the Game Gear. But it didn't have a long life, and there was a Metal Gear game planned for it. Unfortunately, it was canceled because of the short lifespan. And like I said, I think this thing was also like the early prototype for the DS. It wasn't a Nintendo-made thing, but I've seen it online, and it was like it pretty much looks like a DS at times. I would like to play this game and see what it's like. It's probably really, really bad, like Resident Evil Gaiden and everything, or the canceled version of Resident Evil 1 for the Game Boy Color. But it'd still be interesting to see nonetheless. And finally on this list would be my first ever Sega Saturn game. Now all I need is a Sega Saturn to play it. Virtua Cop. Anybody who ever grew up in the arcades in the early 90s remembers playing either like their shooters or either Virtua Cop or this series right here, Lethal Enforcers. These games were awesome. These were like my childhood shooting games. I love these, you know. And to this day, I still love them. This is the reason, like, Virtua Cop is one of the reasons why I am getting a Sega Saturn again, because there are no arcades anymore. No arcades with shooters in them and everything, or at least around here. The closest one I got to go to is about like 40 minutes away. Me and my buddies got to do that at one point anyway. But regardless, I was so glad to pick this up. It was like $15. I couldn't pass that up. And then, especially since the whole case is intact perfectly. I mean, they want a lot more for like, I mean, like they want like $25 for some Saturn games. And they don't even have the casing or the artwork, or the casing's busted to hell. So I was just very happy to get that, and it made my day. Like I said, now all I need is a Sega Saturn. Yeah, definitely need to invest in a Sega Saturn at one point. But hopefully you all like this episode, because I'm going to do more of these as time goes on. I accumulate more games. I should have been, like I said, I should have been doing this months ago, a year ago when I first started this thing. So yeah, like I said, hit the like button if you like it, hit the subscribe button or wherever the subscribe button is, because YouTube's always changing. So yeah, leave comments below on what games you saw here. Let me know what your favorite finds are, because I'll get back to you on them. And hit us up on Twitter and Facebook as well, because it's easier to answer questions there, because sometimes YouTube doesn't alert me when we get messages, which I don't know why they haven't fixed that yet, but they haven't. Either way, I hope you guys enjoyed this, and stay tuned because we got more stuff coming up on the channel at one point. So thank you all again, and I will see you all next time.